When a patient becomes unwell, especially if they're elderly, they might become confused. But why is that? Now, when we say that someone is confused, what we mean is that their cognition is impaired. When we say cognition, we're actually talking about lots of different processes that the brain performs. This includes things like the ability to pay attention, the ability to perceive and then process the information from our environment, to store that as memories, recall our memories, and then use the information from those memories and from the environment around us to try and weigh up the possible decisions we could make in a given moment, and then to actually communicate and perform those decisions. And this is part of the reason why we've got such a big brain, and it's what makes humans so special. But of course, in order to do this, the brain actually has quite a lot of demands, and it needs lots and lots of energy. It's the most metabolically demanding organ in the body. It needs lots of oxygen, and it needs a way to get rid of waste products quite effectively. But I like to think of the brain as a bit of a library with its own librarian. Now, outside of the library, the world is a busy place and there's lots going on. New information taken from outside of the library is a bit like new books, and the librarian will decide whether or not each one of those is worth storing. If the librarian thinks that the book is worth storing, and if there's space in the library, then it will be stored, and that's a bit like a new memory. Later on, we could ask the librarian to bring back the book, which is a bit like recalling a memory. And when we recall that memory, it might be because we're trying to solve a problem. And actually, you might need more than one book or more than one memory in order to solve that problem. And you might be using those books in addition to the information that you've got from the outside. And once we've come up with a decision based on all of that, we can then go back out into the world and perform the decision that we want to perform. And that's cognition in a nutshell. The unfortunate inevitability is that the library will get smaller, the librarian will slow down, the organisation of the library will become more haphazard, and some of the books will be damaged. This means that cognition is slowing down. And in some people, this will happen to such an extent that it will start to affect their day-to-day life. And it's at this point we start to